Rusty Old Man here, and today we're building something real special. I like to call this one here the Skinny Boy. And it ain't your typical 2x1 base. Oh no, this is going to provide 360 degrees with turret protection. We got shotgun traps in little corners and crannies. And she's tall and she's narrow. But just like me, after a week of eating beans and losing my pants to a bear trap, she barely held together. But let me tell you, she's full of hope. This ain't no Mega Chad bunker fortress. No siree. This is the base for the scrappy, the wiry, the folks who like their protection vertical and their ceilings dangerously low. So grab your blueprints and stretch out them knees. We're building the Skinny Boy, and he's got just enough room for hope, a shotgun trap, and maybe a snack box if you believe just hard enough. Now you've seen the 360 degree turret protection. We're gonna go right in here. Let's do a little tour here. Now I am not an interior designer, right? So this is, you can design and put boxes however you want, but you come into this first room right here, and right here, this is how we're gonna go ahead and load that turret. Very secure way to do that. Turn that back on. Here I've got a locker. I've got a drop box right there. I've got another vertical box right here. And if you didn't notice, shotgun trap, shotgun trap. So if someone does get into those first doors, they are going to get deleted. Up here, we've got even more room for storage. I've got my battery here. I could place multiple batteries. If I didn't need this storage here, I could get rid of this shelf and put a large battery here. I had extra room here, and it was just, you know what? I didn't have any pictures, so I decided to add more storage. Now that's not the loot room. The loot room is right behind here. We have got 9 large boxes using the jungle DLC with that jungle shelf right there, putting 2 small boxes and a little extra little gimme right there with that 12 extra storage of the drop box. Looking good right here. Now down here is going to be our core. And what we've got here, again, not a lot. Again, if you want to put a workbench in here, you want to go ahead and put yourself a barbecue in here and have your friends over to cook some meat, you go ahead and do that. I don't care. That's up to you. Again, turn off our turret, reload. Same thing on this other side. Jump up here, turn off this turret, reload. It's good. What's it going to cost you here? Well, first off, I've got all my foundations here as HQ. That's the final build strength. And then what I have is another little extra layer of security. This little floor frame right here. That's so people don't go through that window. Even though I've got embrasures and the reinforced glass, I wanted to make sure they couldn't break those and get in. Total cost, 19 HQ, 830 metal. That's a node and a half of metal and about 3 nodes of stone a day. As a solo, this is doable, people. This is definitely something you should build. Guaranteed you'll have some fun. So hey, let's get to it. Let's build this thing out. Well, this is as good of an area as any to go ahead and build this. So what I'll do is I'll start with a single foundation, and then from here, 2 raised square foundations and 2 raised triangle foundations. And then on those triangle foundations, we're going to go ahead and put windows on them. We're going to go ahead and do a full wall and a half wall here, 2 half walls, and then we're going to do a floor frame up above that we'll go ahead and close off with a ladder hatch. So make sure that you've got that crafted prior. All right, I've got it here. Doesn't matter the direction the ladder hatch is facing. And then what we're going to do is we want to make sure that we can upgrade all of our foundation before we start building our deployables here. Even if you put your TC here, there's a possibility that you might not be able to upgrade. See this? I can't upgrade it because it's saying it's being building blocked. This one I can, this one I can here and here. So just be careful about that. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And usually what it means is it's just nestled all the way up into the corner. You're just not able to. For this base, you don't need to worry about it being there. So looks like I got a little bit of space there. Now if I want to upgrade this, okay, I can upgrade it. And so you want to make sure you upgrade all of these right here to metal. That is a requirement for this base because you don't want somebody with a jackhammer getting through and soft siding your foundations. I'll go ahead and put my sleeping bag in here. I'm going to go ahead and just start off with a tier 2 workbench here. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and place some storage here. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and put a furnace here. Doesn't matter. So I'll go ahead and just use this guy here. You decide how you want to go ahead and decorate this. But this is where we start off with it right now. Since this is all going to be metal eventually, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it now to metal. And there we go. Let's take a look at our cost here. super, super cheap here. I realize we don't have an airlock, and that's not a big deal because we're going to. Now you may be thinking, oh, we did half walls there because we're going to go ahead and do extra storage. Not really, because if you did that, it's going to be so difficult for you to get up there. You're going to literally throw that keyboard at your monitor. So let's not do that right there. That's actually for something a little bit later that I'll show you. The next step in building the Skinny Boy is making sure that we have ourselves an airlock. So I'll go ahead and come up here, and the sides that have the windows, I'm going to go ahead and put walls down, and the other sides, I'm going to put door frames, and of course I'll top it off with a ceiling right there. Okay, now we've got an effective airlock here. Looking good. Now, it doesn't matter what side we're going to go out to, but the next stage in this is to go ahead and do a storage room with an airlock. What we'll do now is once we know it's safe out here, we're going to go ahead and build up. We're going to have this here. We're going to have our window. We're going to have a door frame up above that, just like this. And we're going to do, again, 2 half walls here. Now, this one is going to be for storage, okay? Put our door right there, lock it up. Another window right here. Good to go. So now we've got a little bit better of an airlock, but you'll notice if you come down here, depending on how you built this, this might be a little bit of a challenge for you. So eventually we're going to have a normal airlock here, but you might need to have something to help jump up a little bit here. We're definitely going to want that typical airlock. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put a wall here, another door frame, and put another door. Now I've got my typical airlock here. I'll get rid of this guy here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a stone barricade right here because those are so easy to find, early wipe and barrels. You'd be good to go. Oh, let's not forget this. Boop, there we go. Now I'm going to take that tier 2 out of the TC room, and I'm going to go ahead and place that tier 2 right here. Personally, I like to place a locker right here and then a jump up right there with that furnace. We'll jump up here. And now for the additional storage, what we can do here is we can keep this. You'll want to have a floor triangle right here. If you want to have a large battery, this is a great place to put a large battery. But honestly, I like to do this. And if I need more power than a medium battery, guess what? I've got room for 2 medium batteries here. What I'm going to do here is I am going to go ahead and replace these doors with garage doors. Okay. Let's go ahead, and I like to place the medium battery on the top. And the reason why is because on the bottom there, that's where I'm going to go ahead and put a little drop box right there. So I'm going to have easy access to my drop box. And I want to go ahead and put this all the way back into the corner as far as I can. And then with the Jungle DLC or the Pioneer DLC, we can go ahead and put another one here. And I want it to hang over a little bit. That way, when I look up, I've got easy access to my drop box and to my other storage. The next thing we need to worry about is home defense. And for home defense, I'm going to go ahead and place 2 shotgun traps here looking straight down onto that door so that if someone does get through, we delete them. I like to go as close as possible there. That way, again, they come in. That should get them there. And then if for some reason they get through that, I place one right up here. High enough so that when I jump up, it doesn't disturb me. I've got room up here for more storage. One last thing in this stage is you're going to build your loot room. This is going to be your main loot room. Now I know you're thinking, wait a second. Somebody's just going to be able to soft side into this. And yes, eventually they are. So you'll want to go ahead and start that loot room right here. That's why you're going to want to make sure this foundation is metal to make it a little bit more difficult for them to get to. I wouldn't store any loot in there until you've actually secured the outside. So let's take a look at the outside and what we need to do here. We're going to build 2 to 3 triangle foundations. So this one here, there are 3 of them, but we are just expanded by those 2 right there. For this one here, you go out just like that. That's going to be that foundation. And for this one here, 1, 2, just like that. For this one here, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Because again, that original foundation is right there. And then you're going to go back to all of those foundations that you just placed, and you are going to spam them in every open slot with a door frame. Door frame, door frame, door frame. Just keep putting them because we're going to be putting fences there to protect our turrets. Perfect. Looking good. Now, you're going to need to have one more airlock, and that airlock is to get into where these turrets are going to be. So we'll go ahead and do one more triangle foundation here. And guess what? That's right, people. You need yourself another wall frame and another roof right there for our doors. Perfect. But this is going to be where our turret is. Our turret's going to be right here. It's going to be right here. It's going to be looking here. It's going to give you 360-degree coverage of your base. Once you get your resources to build those fences, let's go ahead and do that. Here, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and place all of them here. And you can place all of them because you're going to be able to get to the turret from that window right there. So you can go ahead and just block that one completely off. For this one, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to get to this right here. And then you're going to do basically a little airlock here. So let's go ahead and get a couple key locks on those guys there just to keep it secure. Wonderful. This also makes your little loot room there a little more secure as well. Now this one here, we can close in because again, we have access from right there. So no worries here. No concerns. Looking good there. I'm going to go around to the other side and I'm going to close that side off with these as well. Again, no concerns because we can get to the turret from the inside. Now, I can't right now. There we go. Okay, we've got our turret pods located all the way around the base. It's looking secure. It's looking good. Now let's go back inside. Here. And for our loot room, I always like to upgrade that right there to metal. It just gives me a little bit more space. And if you've seen any of my videos, you need to go as far over to the left as possible. There should be no gap between this shelf and that wall right there. And then we're going to go ahead and place a total of 9 large boxes in here. I'll go ahead and put a link to the video up in the top right-hand corner so that you can watch how this is done. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and place these in here. Again, that video will show you how to do that. But a best practice I have is to always just have your garage door off so you can quickly see that it actually covers things. Before you start placing the top ones, you do want to do this in a specific order. You want to go here, here, and then you're going to do a shelf. So let me go ahead and add these guys here. Super easy. Again, all the way to the back. And this will fit 3 of these ones. Should fit 3. Nice and easy here. And this one here was blocked by the floor frame. So that's why I upgraded that one to metal. It's crazy, but it makes a difference. Now, before you do this one here, you want to go ahead and come up here. And we'll go right about there. That looks good to me. Let's make sure that we can climb up there still. Wonderful. And then we're going to go ahead and place 2 boxes here as well. And you may be thinking, that's a tight fit, isn't it? Well, listen, you climb up there. And again, you just crouch, but you've got easy access to all of this right here. Now I'll finish this top row here, which will be a bit of a challenge. And the reason why it's a bit of a challenge, it's because I'm above that ladder hatch there, and you like to have a little bit of space here. So what I'll do here is I'll just go ahead and put a little twig here to make this a little bit easier for me to do. Okay, so I've got the loot room created here. Again, I've got videos on that you'll be able to see, but hey, look at this. Right there, we got an extra 12 storage right there. And again, we've got lots of easy access to all of this storage here. So that right there, we close that down. Again, everything is locked in there, nice and secure. You see that little blue thing there? It doesn't say open, it says open door. So you're good. Your loot is secure. For our next step, we need power. So I'm going to go ahead and come right up here to the top. Now, again, for this, you can decide how high you want to go up. Listen, you're going to be powering 4 turrets. Maybe you'll have a couple smart switches. Maybe you'll have some other things, some lights, some furnaces. It's going to be okay, I think, to just do it right here. You're going to get enough power. Look at this. I mean, with this right here, I'm getting 100 right now. Okay, we've got our power coming in. Then I'll go ahead and place a couple branches right here to get my power plugged into there. Power output, wonderful. There we go. Now you're going to need to decide where you want all your switches to go, but I like to put the switches, relatively close to the actual turrets. So I'll put one here, power in, I'll configure all my branches to be 10 because they're all going to be going directly to the switches and the turrets. Again, eventually you may change this with some smart switches, but that's up to you. And I also like to color coordinate things. So that's my pink one. Do a green one that's going to go down into here. Got one there. Got one there. Right. Let's do an orange one here. And then the last one. And I'm going to put that switch for this one right here because I'm going to need to go outside to actually get to it. There we go. And then all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place our turrets and then plug our turrets into those. When you've got turrets surrounding your entire base, one of the challenges is figuring out where the turret shot at. You don't know which turret did it. So what I like to do is I like to split mine up. So for this turret right here, I'm going to go ahead and put a python. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one here. But I'm going to remember that that's my python side. And then this side over here, I'm going to go ahead and put some SARs on this one. I can also finally block that off completely. Same thing with this one here again, because we can access it through here. And we know this side here is going to have our SAR as well. That definitely is going to help things out. And then I'll go ahead and just power these things up. Now you're vulnerable right here, so you may want to go ahead and add yourself just an extra layer of protection right there. So I'm going to do that. There we go. The last thing that I would say to do here is if you need additional storage, and again, we've got room for additional storage. We can put boxes down here still. We've got a little bit more room up here. But if you want, this is a great spot to put 4 drop boxes for just quick additional storage right there. Now, you may never access the outside of it, and that's all right. But we've got all of this, which again is going to be plenty. But again, sometimes you just need some quick area to get some gear. Maybe this is going to be where you want your food. One of the things we haven't done is we haven't looked at the actual upkeep of this base. As is right now, look at that. We're talking basically 1.5 stones of metal and almost 2 stone nodes a day. And that is it. Now to make this a little bit more challenging to get through, I'm going to go ahead and place embrasures on all of my windows here. And one last thing, if you remember early on when we built the core here, we did this with a couple half walls. And the reason why was not for storage, but for protection. So I'm going to go ahead and do a floor frame right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that to metal. Still have access to my turrets, so don't have any problems with that. But this gives you extra added support. So if somebody does break into those turrets, it's not so easy to get into the actual loot room. And in fact, here, if we look at the upkeep, I mean, we're looking at 1.5 nodes of metal. We're looking at almost 2 nodes of stone. You know what? You may even want to say, change that to armor right there. They're not going to know it. They're going to think, all right, we can just go right through there. We don't need to worry about the wall. We'll just break this. You've just made it more difficult right there for them by doing that. So again, just some extra things that you can do to keep this secure. If you wanted to, you could upgrade those foundations there. Again, it drops the cost a little bit, but let's be honest. A determined raider, as I always say, they're going to get in. If they want your stuff, they're getting it. Now, again, there's plenty of space in here. So if you want to go ahead and put more boxes in there, however you want to do, where the deployables are going, that's up to you. The last thing that you're probably going to want to do at this base is add a little extra honeycomb. So let's do that. We'll add that honeycomb right here. Definitely want to protect our loot there. Oh, this is perfect right here. Look at this. You could honeycomb more if you'd like. What is our total cost of our upkeep now? That's dirt cheap. The metal price would go to about 900 if we didn't have the HQ in here. Easy upkeep for a solo. And there he is, folks. The skinny boy in all his lanky glory. Not much on the hips, but plenty of heart. Remember, it ain't about the size of the base in the fight. It's about how many shotgun traps and turrets you've got hidden in corners. And if you like this little vertical miracle, slap that subscribe button like it owes you some scrap. And don't forget, stay skinny, stay scrappy, and stay out of the bush. That's where I keep my landmines. Oh, crap.